The Great Gatsby, a great American Yolk tale. Here we go. So basically, The Great Gatsby has a few major characters. The narrator, Nick. Which one's Nick? Not Nick. Nick. And then Gatsby, which is Nick's secret love. And wait, you're not Jordan. I didn't make a Jordan. Okay. Well, and Jordan. I don't have an egg for Jordan, who's a golf player and who I thought was a dude, but wasn't. And the famous Tom and Daisy Buchanan, who are married. And then, you're not Wilson? Where the heck was that guy? And then Wilson, the guy who's married to Myrtle. And Wilson is the car guy. He fixes cars. You see this intricate love triangle, which is actually more of a love square once you add Nick into the mix. Because Gatsby is in love with Daisy, but you see, Daisy is married to Tom. And then I'm pretty sure that, Gatsby and Nick have a thing for each other. Yeah. And Tom is literature's most hated and despised character. And then, so then Nick, that's not Nick. Nick had a thing for Jordan, who's not a dude, but I'm pretty sure him and Gatsby were just, yeah. Well, Gatsby works his way up the money legacy. He came across this one guy who was famous, and he once saved him from a shipwreck. Oh no! Here's Gatsby. Oh, I'll save you. So then he didn't drown. And that's where Gatsby basically learned a lot about being a gentleman from this dude here, which I don't remember the name of. Hopefully it wasn't that important. But he learned a lot from that dude along with his old sport thing. He used that a lot. Old sport, old sport, old sport. And then this guy eventually just died. He died, and so then Gatsby thought he was going to get money from him, but he didn't. So no money there. So Gatsby was just as dirt poor as he originally started off as. Gatsby and Daisy couldn't get married originally because Gatsby didn't have any money and wasn't born into wealth. And then he went off into war, which is why Daisy ended up marrying Tom Buchanan. That was important. Don't know why I didn't say that before. Then Gatsby came across Wolfsheim. This guy, who fixed the 1919 World Series, and he wired Gatsby some money. He then used that money to build up his legacy with parties and everything, and he became famous and stuff, and he bought a mansion. Gatsby lives in West Egg. Gatsby bought a house, mansion, in West Egg, and it was all for Daisy. It was all for Daisy. And so then he threw parties hoping that Daisy would show up, but Daisy never did. Gatsby from West Egg, also known as West Side, because surprise, he's in a gang. Daisy and Tom Buchanan are from East Egg, which is the really rich side. So eventually, Nick moves next to Gatsby, and then Nick is the cousin to Daisy. Gatsby had Nick set up a meeting for him and Daisy so then that Gatsby and Daisy's love could be revived. Daisy and Tom Buchanan are from East Egg, not to be confused with the Easter egg, which is a totally different thing. 5 years passed. That was pretty important to tell you. Daisy had a scandalous affair with Gatsby. So Nick was uncomfortable with everything because he had to accompany Daisy and Gatsby everywhere they went. He was the uncomfortable third wheel in everything they ever did as a couple, practically. But it was no secret that Nick and Gatsby had a thing. After all, Nick had never met such a man like Gatsby before. True story. Tom eventually finds out about the whole fling, cracking the shell on their relationship. Which ones are... Yeah, cracks the shell. So then they all went to a hotel, and on a very unnerving ride home from the hotel, Daisy was driving the car, and Gatsby was over here, between my fingers. Daisy ends up hitting Myrtle, who thought it was Tom driving the car, but it wasn't. It was Daisy. So it ends up hitting Myrtle. Ah! Myrtle, move! Beep, beep. Myrtle's gone. She's over dramatic. Turn over the car and dies. So that was Myrtle. And so then, oh, and surprise, Myrtle was Tom's mistress. So now Tom doesn't have anyone, and Tom tried to destroy Daisy and Gatsby's affair as well. So Wilson wasn't too happy about that, and he decided to pay Gatsby a visit. Wilson wasn't too happy about this, which eventually ended up with the scene right out from Humpty Dumpty, except the wall was a pool and Gatsby didn't have bad balance. He was shot by Wilson. So Gatsby finally got to use his pool. Gatsby in his pool. Wilson. And then Wilson shot himself. There goes Wilson. And no one came to Gatsby's funeral except Nick and T.J. Eckelberg. So all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put J. Gats back together again. Hopefully no one wanted to eat this egg. And Nick became a heartbroken drunk in an insane asylum, if you watch the movie. And that has been The Great Gatsby, a great American Yolk tale. Yolk tale, because they're eggs. Thank you for watching.